Well, greetings everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of MBTV News. Once upon a time known as Meta World News, but that's too many letters for an old man like me to remember. So, MBTV News, it is indeed. My name is Mal Burns. You can find me on Twitter as, guess what, Mal Burns, but without a space. So it's MALBURNS. You can also find Meta World News without a space there too, but that's more sparsely populated. Right, I tell you that because we bring you links and information about virtual worlds and immersive spaces online, together with some of the haptics and hardware that people use for that, in a light-hearted way. But we don't normally delve into helmet land. Maybe we're one exception this week, of course, and you won't guess what that is.
I can
You no,
guess.
you just won't guess.
I can
Right.
guess.
Okay, well, the person who remarkably has the knack of guessing sitting next to me, none other than James Atloud. So, welcome, James.
Oh, thank you, Mal. Thanks for bringing us here. Oh, I forgot to turn on my lips. Testing, testing. There we go. Yeah,
Well,
I'm. I love the future. I need to turn on my lips.
yeah. Only you can tell whether you've turned them on or not, because
Right, right.
I can see your white dot. That's about it.
Okay.
Yes. So, yeah, James is our knob fiddler. He loves fiddling with knobs. He also loves sitting down and generally producing things and whatever. So, a man defies a title, but is an invaluable assistant come producer. There we are.
Oh, thanks.
Right. Yeah, I'll think of a new one for next week. Don't
All
worry.
right. Yep.
I've got a whole list of attributes to give you.
Creativity springs eternal.
Indeed, indeed. Well, yeah, as long as it's 30 last, that is. Right. Okay. So what is we doing here? Oh yes, I was going to tell you the date. I think it's actually on your screen these days, but it's the 11th of June, and it's 77 degrees, except that Apple thinks it's 79. So, oh, and Google thinks it's 72. Oh dear,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
what they. Anyway, all I can tell you is it is seriously overheating here in London. I have
Oof.
every window open, but the sky is grey. It feels like the sky is going to fall.
Hmm.
Uh, um, I'm in a complete state of undress, but you don't need to know that. Right. Still hot and sticky. Right. What can I say?
Got to keep
So,
cool.
yeah,
Keep
it
cool.
is, however, that's the bit in the line here I'm reading out that you didn't actually need to know. It's actually Sunday, 11th of June, and it's 1845 in my part of the world. In other words, the UK, but wherever it is in the world, you can obviously view this. If you're not watching live, you can view this at any time on YouTube at Melbourne's Metaverse or MetaWorld or whatever I'm called these days. But Melbourne's will do. You'll find me. Right. Okay. So I guess we can get going. Selection of web links, sort of promotional videos and stuff like that, and updates on, particularly on TV and video type stuff, which I'm naturally fairly keen on. A quick look at my picture screen shows one picture, a solitary picture to show you this week. And we actually covered this event, which is OR, Augmented Reality Expo, last week. But we didn't have at the time have this nice photograph of all the participants crowding on stage at the end for a photograph. When I say participants, I mean the organisers' participants.
Mm.
I don't think there's actually any of the other participants up there in the photo, though I might be wrong. But given the fact that this week, about midweek, the All Science has actually published all their videos now. I just realised just how many side rooms were recording too, and
Mm.
every about three or four side rooms as well as the main stage, all of them immaculately recorded for posterity. So I'm quite sure people who've like me have got had a virtual ticket and stuff could not possibly have seen the side rooms. We just saw the main stage, but great to know that we can go to the site and look at them all um, in
Oh, yeah.
in aftermath. So lots of stuff there, all edited nice and quickly. So anyway, I thought I'd show you that picture before I switch to our clip section, and one we'll just. There's our logo just playing away in the background now. So while it's doing that, I'm going to move to our web pages here. And how the heck did that happen? Um,
That looks like an Evernote elephant.
yeah, your password's in a data leak. I don't want to deal with this now. Come on, you stupid. It
Uh,
wasn't. It wasn't like this a minute ago.
Seconds ago, right?
Okay, okay, here we go. Right, thank goodness for that. Okay, I guess we're working backwards from the top of the list here this week. Okay. Oh, dear. Actually, that was an old. In case you were thinking you'd seen my email address, you haven't. It was an old one, so maybe they have got it wrong. Right.
Well,
Okay.
and I
Here we go.
left it. I left it in the upper third, so it was unreadable for the most part.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Okay, well, well, actually, I'm not going to go to the web links. I'm going to go right down to the bottom of my list to the things we have up every week. I'm going to start with voicesofvr.com. This is obviously a web link if you want it, but I just normally give you this one each week now. I think there are three new ones this week. June the 7th and June the 7th, no, it's four. Um, June the 6th, oh, five new ones this week. Okay, the one at the beginning of the week was his first impressions of the Apple Vision Pro from two XR developers, which he interviewed with them there. Next up, after that, we had Apple Vision Pro hands-on debriefing with, incidentally, you'll like this, James, Upload VR's editor, Ian Hamilton.
Yep.
And Ian Hamilton's actually on taking over mixed realities this week too. So
Oh, okay.
at least there's no upload VR this week.
Right, right. Well, I'll have to look at that.
They're all over the place. Right. Again, Apple Vision Pro hands-on debriefing with Ben Lang from Road to VR. So again, this is the big news of the week, of course. And Apple Vision Pro hands-on debriefing with CNET's editor Scott Stein. And surprise of the bunch, Tribeca Immersive preview with its curator. That's got nothing to do with Apple Vision Pro,
No,
surprise,
no.
surprise. But there we are. So yes, yeah, that's it. So 5 episodes this week. They weren't. They're all on June the 7th, bar one of them actually. But there we go. Some good stuff there. And coming down now, as well as my Twitter account that I mentioned earlier. I have a feed at Mastodon. It's actually at MetaWorld at mastodon.social. And as you can sort of see there, if you can read it big enough. Yeah, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, well, basically anything that's interesting that's a video and reasonably long, I actually put here. The main shows plus any incident, video that comes up. Here we are, actually. This one is. I was just thinking through offline. I almost played it, but in fact, I don't need the offline one here. We've got this one here. And I don't want full.
Hello and welcome to Gatherverse News Unscripted, your home for humanity-centered tech journalism. I'm Lisa Bernard. Thank you for joining me. Today on our show, we are lucky enough to have Monica R.S.
Oh. Right, okay. Well, so much for that. I thought I was going to make it bigger, but actually didn't. Oh, we got. Yeah, okay, we got something.
Us to enjoy it on a deeper level.
It's taken us to
And
YouTube.
can you give us an example? What might that look like?
Yeah, so for example, right now, I always kind of use the example of like when I was little, I really loved everything related to astronomy. And so I often went to the encyclopedia, I opened up that page of the first moonlet.
Okay, well, you get the idea anyway.
Education.
Right.
How do we use these tools to increase our curiosity or to increase our imagination, and just our understanding of how I think where we're going to supercharge it is combining all these technologies we have. So if we merge together AI with XR, with sort of the old ways that we were doing things, this triad or this triangular.
Okay, I found my way back. Sorry about that. It's pros and cons here. You either get it nice and big, or now what's happened? Now what's happened? It's not showing me anything anymore. Reload page, maybe that would do. Posts. Me. Oh, I don't know what's happening here. We have a problem. Okay, well, all these things that are normally in the list here. It's got to be me. Home? No. What are all these things? Oh, this had to happen while it was live online, didn't it?
Oh,
Didn't it just? Didn't it just? Okay, we're back on. Let's go to home again. And no, these are kind of incoming. Let's go to Meta World again. All right. Oh, there we are. Okay. I've really got to get this fixed. I thought I had done, but there's no way of getting these. I need to find another way of getting these feeds actually to with the pictures and then sets too. Anyway, going down the list, as I say, that was XR technology to increase access in education. Also, Charlie Fink's usual This Week in XR, featuring Ed Sarchi, the founder of Fables Studio. But interestingly enough, not featuring Charlie Fink. Ed Chilowitz and the others probably, they were making excuses for him. I don't know. It wasn't quite clear what had happened to him. I think they were saying he was running around so many conferences.
yeah, maybe he was just tired. Right.
Yeah, falling asleep. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, so the usual thing there. It points to a YouTube subscription fee, which is a bit weird. Every time I make changes to make life easier, I get the wrong links. Never mind. Okay, Between Realities, right, featuring Ian Hamilton of Upload VR. So, oh, I don't believe this. Well, it's not going to the right place, is it? As you can tell. Okay. I'm going to have to do something about this. It seems that YouTube has replaced half the links with ones I don't want. Okay, all conference unscripted. Yeah, another behind the scenes stuff from Gatherverse there. Right, Apple. Oh yeah, these are the Voices of VR winners, of course, which are audio shows. More. Right, Open Augmenting the Metaverse, Open Metaverse podcast. That's talking about augmenting the metaverse. And right, XR Today. This is 5 days ago. The XR Big News program. Interoperable Stage, the next frontier of storytelling with Brendan Bradley. Oh, this was a good one. This is a bit off center for me, but I enjoyed that. It was good watch. Oh, can't think what that is. Right. Okay. Well, as you can see, we haven't got Upload VR this week. Also gone missing somehow. There was an F Reality, but oh no, that was a repeat they did yesterday, so I took it down again. Yeah, and yeah, I would say the most interesting one, of course, is if I could find it again. Where's that one with Ian Hamilton on? There we are. Right, the link, unfortunately, is going to YouTube feed subscriptions. It's going to my subscription feed instead of the actual show, which is not helpful at all. I'm going to put these away before I find myself in a more flustered state than I am already. This is not right.
Frustrating.
This is not right, really. Yeah, might see if I can go to them separately, probably by. I know what I'll do. Folks. You'll get a decent sized screen here. Okay.
Relationships, and they don't reflect the character.
Don't know what this is.
Okay.
Right, so I want to go to history, and there's going to be a load of stuff here. But right, that's the Gatherverse one. Can't tell which is which here. Oh, these are all my rock concerts. Sorry about that. Freak Fest from Germany. All right, where we are. These are all Second Life ones. You see, unfortunately, when you take this route, you get everything, and it's the kitchen sink really. Where are we? More the music. There we are. There's This Week in XR, and for example,
time at Magic Leap when you were there, and a lot of our reflections were about Apple as a company and
works, or talk to them about your next.
fearless leader Charlie Fink is the host, and I'm here with Roni Abovitz, former CEO of Magic Leap and big Apple fan, as well as I am. Charlie had some serious personal stuff to deal with today, so he wasn't able to be on the
There we are.
podcast today on somewhat of an auspicious day because of all the podcasts that Charlie has had to miss. And I think, truthfully, I think we may be approaching or maybe over 150 podcasts now that we've done over the last number of years.
Well, there you go. Right, moving on down here. Right, all I'm trying to do is find the this was the immersive experiences from all. That's when I started subscribing to Gatherverse because they actually are beginning to get some quite interesting stuff. Originally, I thought they were all platform orientated. There was a platform called Gatherverse, but they're probably gathering the verse now. They're kind of news. Tell you, if you like Bruce Springsteen, that Barcelona Night one is great. It's made up. Well, no, it's interesting actually. It's the first time I've actually seen something that decent, 3 hours long. It's made up of, they had about 12 people with webcams, phone cams, high quality ones in the audience and in different places. And they mixed them all together. And then they got a sound check, an actual soundtrack from the mixer at the venue. So you got perfect sound. And then they've montaged a lot of people's camera footage together in a way that you would not know it was a professional show. It's really good. Actually, even if you don't like Springsteen, certainly don't like that guy. I don't know what I was looking at there. Right, more rock and roll here. Come on. As you can see, there was a festival on this week, so come on. We're getting way off the topic here, really, but I'm quite anxious to do.
It's going to be the new Meta World Music podcast.
There we are. Which one was this?
Braiding system. Is it the global braiding system or?
No, this is proprietary
software.
It
feels a bit like it.
Space.os.
Right. So yeah, I'm looking now. Okay. When I look around, so I got it. Can I move? I can move them. Okay, I got it.
Open new tabs. You can take the tabs out of the windows to create new windows, and so on and so on.
I got it. So I can create my workspace around me, basically.
Exactly. That's,
okay.
I would say.
Okay, this is the Lenovo, I think it was, a Tor rather than the Apple contraption.
I got it. Okay, yeah, very interesting concepts, I would say. I think, yeah, right now this is still, it feels a bit limited because of the FOV, honestly speaking. Right. But yeah, this is the first product, right? This is your first product? This is the first generation, early access?
Technology being what it is,
Okay.
Okay, I'm moving back there because the system of viewing stuff is a bit awkward, especially as that one I had a link to earlier. I completely forgot about all this music stuff when I go to my watched. Just proof of the pudding that I don't spend all my time watching virtual world stuff, at least. There we are. Kathy Hackey there with something or other. God, come on, Murky World, I remember that. All conference. Which ones that is. If I don't find this one for James shortly, I think I'm going to have to got it quit. So it definitely should be showing up in the watch list, if nothing else. So, and it was quite recent. I think it's since Springsteen. That's in concert there. I bet you I just didn't remember to. Director's showcase. More music. Come on, that'll be there somewhere. And that's a rip. I'm sorry, folks. I'm literally going to have to go back to where we were
in the movie. And that's where Madonna's boot camp came from.
What the heck? Okay, so folks, forget those lists. I'll be coming to a bit of movie stuff later. I'm going to sort out the Mastodon feed. I don't know why. Some are missing. I do have them here, but if I loaded them in advance, I could have shown them from the here, but I haven't. I'll find a solution for another day. Right. Okay. These are the actual web feeds I got this week. As I said, there aren't actually all the talks about Apple's thing. Industrial XR markets are to top 60 billion US dollars by 2030, so research seems to imply. You will find this at xrtoday.com, so xrtoday.com. Information there, really. And xrtoday.com again, xrtoday.com. This is big XR news, and of course Apple, HTC, Vive, Tactile, and Amazon. Mostly Apple, though, of course. As I pointed out earlier, there is an actual video version of not it's with the same name, basically, that came out earlier in the week. This is more recent. I can't remember what day was it. It doesn't show me the day there. Anyway, again, this is a roundup with Apple's debuting its Vision Pro, and quite exciting about that. So I'm holding back on commenting on that until I've got all this stuff out of the way. Those be on that. Okay, right now, roadtovr.com here. I only included a few things about the Apple contraption. Apple Vision Pro will apparently support one of the world's most prominent social apps, which of course is, wait for it, Rec Room. Not a bad way to start. Pity they're not doing open sim, really, isn't it? But there again. Basically, my first of my comments here, right, is people are saying that, it's not VR and you can't get things. But as far as I can see, anything XR, by and large, will work because XR is almost wholly based on websites. In other words, they build the virtual platforms on the web. And the Apple Vision can actually load any website as a window, and you can zoom in and out of it depending on how you want. So Tim Cook does not like the word metaverse ever since it was hijacked by somebody we won't mention. And subsequently, he's not that keen on using the word VR. I mean, augmented reality has always been his thing, but in fact, this device is more than capable. People are screaming about the hefty price of $3,500. But basically, where people are getting this wrong is that this device is not an accessory, right? It's not something that goes with your Mac kit. It's actually a fully fledged computer. It's basically a Mac OS on your face with a battery pack to keep it running. And if you're near a plug, you can keep it plugged in, so you're not limited to 2 hours. This is a new Mac. It is not an accessory. And when you consider if you want a high-class new Mac, like a desktop type, it's going to cost you $5,000. But the Mac Minis are a bit cheaper. But even so, with decent specs and everything, you're going to be spending on near on $2,500 for a decent spec Mac, and possibly more if you include the monitor. And of course, this thing doesn't need a monitor; it's on your head. The downside is apparently it is still heavy, and people are hoping they'll make it less heavy by the time it actually ships. A lot of people have tried it on and are impressed by it because at the launch they had a lot of demo things, and actually the weight of it was the thing that people moaned about most. And a lot of people, Uncanny Valley, they didn't really take to the idea that it's like a spacesuit where you can see the wearer inside, because the visor's not transparent. What it does is it uses cameras close to your face to replicate your face on the outside of the visor. So anybody looking at you sees a version of your face, which has actually been taken by a camera inside or a sensor inside. and that apparently looks rather weird, although very accurate apparently. So who knows? But anyway, my main takeaway from this is that everybody's going on as if this was. You know, I originally thought they would have come up with something that would plug into an iPad or plug into an iPhone that would convert that into something you can go into through glasses or something. They've taken a completely, I mean, it's called Vision Pro, isn't it? People have asked why it says Pro. It's possible there'll be a light version later, which actually is some kind of add-on. I don't know. But I don't like the idea of the weight. I'm very averse to helmets, as most of you know. But if it was really lightweight, I think they have probably cracked the future of computing, or one of them. They're still going to sell iPads. They're still going to sell Macs. But you know, they actually have a new product, not an accessory, but a new product that is revolutionary for the first time in donkeys, and it would be Apple. Anyway, motorvr.com here. Scott Hayden has his a review here. Upload VR, in fact, was the first to have noticed some of this stuff. Not that they've been on air, but the first to, their website has, put it that way. And yeah, they actually showed off Rec Room running. Right, so you know, it's not just we can run Rec Room there. Apparently, a whole load of VR type games, these sort of things, are going to be porting over, and it actually integrates the Unity game engine. So anything that's sort of been authored in Unity is going to work automatically because the Unity game engine is part of the infrastructure that Apple would built into it. The other thing I love, but it will be weird to get hold of, is no motion controllers or it has hand and eye tracking and voice input. So you can tell it what to do. It can follow your eyes. So instead of turning your head, you just look in the direction you want. And forget leap motion, the hand sensors are just apparently spot on. I would absolutely love to put one on my head and try it out. I don't know the where for that long, but it's I've read around all sorts of pros and cons here, and I think the biggest mistake people are making is they think, oh God, Apple have done this, you know, god awful expensive accessory, and it's not an accessory. It's a fully fledged computer. It's a new generation of computer, and so long as you understand that, you'll realize that 3,500 is not particularly expensive for these as these things go. Right. Mixedartist.com. This is rolling the ground. An old friend of mine from the Chilbo community in Second Life, and that's going back a long way. He's a journalist over in Germany, in fact. He hasn't been writing his blog for a long while because concentrating on his regular journalism, but he's been back with the blog about once a week now. And this one actually is just talking about the metaverse as spatial computing. And of course, spatial, you know, that's really what the Apple Vision Pro is. It's a spatial computer. Right. Yes, exactly. They're integrated. It's like an iPad as an iPad OS, you know. But you know, then they're all touchy-feely sort of things, and this one is actually a spatial computer. So there you go. Anyway, yeah. So Roland gives his take on this, and Apple is keen to differentiate itself from four-letter word platforms. Obviously, who wouldn't be? And yeah, and he's got some other links you can go to there. And Forbes, with none other than Charlie Fink. He was obviously still alive and well on the 8th. This is his Forbes thing. Apple Intro Vision Pro, Red 6, Parodromics, PCI closed rounds, or whatever. There's the Apple thing. Sorry, Apple, it is still a helmet, but it is at least a proper computer in a helmet. What else can I say? I said we don't do helmet land, but I said there would be one exception. Right. So this is Charlie. I think they had a worldwide developers conference. A cup of tea. No, cup of tea. No. Oh, I like that one. I've never thought of that one before. Cup of tea. Oh, coffee, please. Right. Okay. Sorry. No. Never mind. Never mind. I think that's a bad one, but it fell out. Right. Okay. Pictures of journalists photographing it. That's more interesting than the thing itself. Oh, I was there photographing it. Don't care what it was. I was just photographing it, wasn't I? Right. Okay. They're opening. Oh, this is interesting. As well as the debut there, they're actually going to be opening Apple Store locations, taking so throughout the summer, where people can actually devs can come along and test this. The helmet or the Vision Pro. Um, so although it won't be out to next year, they're wasting no time contacting developers and getting them to try it out because it is, after all, the developers that they were aiming for here. They don't want it to come out in 9 months' time without any babies to go in it, kind of thing. So it'd be a false pregnancy, wouldn't it? Never mind. 9 months and all that. Right, the wrap up of all 4-letter words on the quest, etc. Oh, that's intriguing. Oh, is this the brain? Oh no, it's this AR air combat training. Right. Oh. Heavy stuff that. Paradromics. I wonder what all that was about. Brain computer interface company secures $33 million to interface itself. Right. Apple. Oh, now this was interesting. Right. I don't know where I got another link on this anyway. But there's another headset, people, with an augmented reality headset called the Mirror. And no sooner, I think it was the same day as they launched the Vision OS thing, they bought Mirror. It's a smartphone headset based on a 2015 design originally intended to target consumers. So I'm beginning to wonder if it was always rumored there would be two of these things coming out from Apple. One would be high end and one would be, well, there's no such thing as low end with Apple, but lower lower down towards another end. Right. Yes, so they've bought a company called Mirror, which is interesting. And it's interesting that news came out on the very same day. Maybe reiterating the fact that they're serious about this stuff, and maybe Apple sees it as an alternate path to a low-cost device that doesn't have anything much to do with Vision Pro. So nobody seems to be sure about those announcements all happening at once. Okay, NVIDIA, of course. Don't think there's anything greatly other there. You'll find that at Forbes.com, by the way, FORBES.com, that weekly roundup. It is actually reproduced by various people. I think it might be XR Today also have it online. I say that because some people who actually go to Forbes.com actually get halted at a paywall, and you actually need to find it in another place if that's the case. Right, now we've got something from somebody. We're going to have quite a lot of this. Quite a lot of this indeed. I think he's howling. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Fresh from the AWE conference and ready to look at Cappuccino's offerings. It's the Scar Ghost. And his first editorial is, "We are entering into a new cycle of XR." His editorials are great. They tend to, well, there's another one about it. Read my opinion here. I thought this was the opinion. Okay, he's a good writer. When he's not just doing news roundups, he's sort of pretty authoritative writer. He's talking about XR in general and then Apple joining the march, so to speak. And the tech giants are coming. As you can see, it's a long article. I can just flip through it here. I'll leave it up to you to follow this and read it. It's SKARREDGHOST.com. And June 7th, so that was 4 days ago, so about midweek, he'd had plenty of time to absorb the contraption. And he even managed to photograph somebody wearing the contraption, indeed. There's a rather odd thing on the left hand side there. That little cable goes to the battery that you can wear on your belt, although you can put it on a table and actually plug it into a mains if you don't want. It's only got 2 hours battery life, so that's probably more than enough to give you a headache, but who knows. But there is apparently on the right hand side a similar thing, and they think it's USB-C, although it's just a small fitting, and nobody seems to be quite sure what the other cable input is for. But there have been some remarks about it that maybe there'll be some kind. I suspect it might be one of those things where you can connect it to your Mac, to USB-C or something, and it can work as an alternative screen for your actual Mac. I suspect it's something like that. They could do it anyway, so Apple do a lot of that stuff with the iPad, but they do it via wireless. But yeah, it could be just a tethered option that there's a spot for plugging in. Oh, that's true. I didn't look into that too much. Um, yeah, I mean, I presume it's sound conduction, like a lot of these things use now. It certainly doesn't like she's got something hanging over her ears, so it must be just about right. And therefore you don't have much privacy because it's like some yeah, exactly. That's why they invented headphones. Apple, hey, earpods, please. Yeah, yeah, actually, yeah. I bet you can use AirPods as an alternative to the thing. Yeah, but yeah, it's possible the socket on the right hand side that hasn't been mentioned by anything is to do with actual tethering with a real Mac. So who knows? Uh, it could indeed be. I mean, they got touch as part of this operating system, gestures. Um, they've got voice. Hang on, they got touch for hand. Hang on, hand movements, voice. I've forgotten what the other thing is now. Um, eyes, yeah, the eyes tracking. Yeah, so yeah, smell-o-vision. It's probably the only thing they haven't included yet, as far as I know. Interesting. Smell-o-vision, here it comes. Okay, going back to the ORXR site. Um, oh, yeah, well, as I said, that's a big article from Scar Ghost there. ORXR.com. And there we are, folks. It's not happening, is it? Okay, it may be that you need to be yeah, I don't really understand this. I can't even reload it. That's just hmm. This, I think, was a list of the replay videos from the all conference as they were coming up, and something about an after party. But for some reason, I'm not getting alerts or 404 or anything. So it could just be that I copied this link from a site where I actually have access because I was a virtual attendee. So maybe it doesn't work for in this browser or whatever. Okay, moving on down, I'm afraid. Apple has bought a headset startup called Mira. Okay, this was the full report on the same thing, actually, I mentioned a minute ago. This is actually theverge.com, theverge.com. And yeah, they've got a headset called a Mira. A Mira. That's nice. That's what it looked like. That is a big visor, but I must admit that it's definitely not quite a helmet. It's more of a headset, isn't it? They're not glasses, but without that pull down, whatever it is, it looks rather compact. This is actually from 2017, so that's 5-6 years ago. Anyway, this is what Apple bought, and yeah. Mira is the headset you wear during the Mario Kart ride at Nintendo World. Oh, okay. So that's what it's been seen before, presumably. And Right. What have I got here? Okay, theverge.com. Don't. Okay, it looks like there's an advert there for somebody who's starting a newsletter. Okay, theverge.com, THEVERGE.com for that little piece of information. Removing the or link because it didn't link. Right, there we are. So, oh, we looked at this one, didn't we? Mixed realities again. The metaverse is spatial computing. Okay, Scar Ghost again. No, this one we've looked at. Sorry about this, folks. I keep forgetting to delete the ones. Oh, that explains it. Where is? Okay. There was a sneak peek earlier in the week at Scar Ghost, but that's gone missing too. This is all Hyper Safari stuff that suddenly popped up here now. And what is all that stuff? Oh, well, I'll be damned. Okay, yeah, Safari updated too, which is the engine running this screen share. Oh dear, they did quite a lot. Big news. These are all the tabs. They haven't actually closed behind me, which is actually that's quite convenient in some ways, being able to go back to them. Even so, right. Okay, so I'm going to click back here to our department of what's this, and yeah, Games for Change Festival has happened. So I'm going to open this a different way.
Games for Change is the largest global community for people who want to use games and immersive media to make the world a better place. Every year, our growing community comes together in July for our flagship event, the Games for Change Festival, held in New York City. In 2023, we'll host the 20th annual Games for Change Festival. And to celebrate, we're expanding the program with an entire week of events from July 17th to the 21st. The whole week is jam-packed with opportunities to learn, share, and connect, with a cutting-edge lineup of talks, workshops, opportunities to get to know funders, and experience award-winning interactive content at the Games in XR Immersive Arcade. This year's program also features the first of its kind Games and Sustainable Development Goals Summit held at the United Nations, as well as the Next Gen Summit designed for youth ages 13 to 17. We hope you'll join us in July for this historic moment to celebrate the growth of the global Games for Change community, reflect on 20 years of trailblazing innovation, and come together around a vision for the future of games, XR, and impact.
This is something Kent By published. It is, of course, the Apple contraption as well, as if you don't know by now.
I miss you so much.
rather odd ending there. What did you say? Right, what we got here?
Hi, welcome back to MRTV to AWE USA 2023. I'm here at Sightful, and Sightful is doing the world's first AR laptop, and I'm here with Toma Kahan, co-founder and CEO. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm great. It's so exciting day. We just unveiled our 100-inch laptop that fits in your backpack, spaced off.
Okay.
Super exciting day.
Okay, cool. So this is it. This is it's called Sightful, and explain to us what exactly it is.
Sure. So this is a Spacetop. Spacetop is an AR laptop where it has a full-size keyboard and trackpad that gives you the uncompromised productivity that you're used to on any high-end laptop. It also has a pair of AR glasses that we worked very hard with our partners, Xreal, to optimize for productivity, for text legibility, for all-day work and comfort, as well as partnered with some other key partners of ours like Qualcomm and Wistron that builds 10% of the world's laptops for the large brands we use. Yeah.
Okay. So what is this running? Is it running a Windows or what is it running?
This is running our custom software. It's a custom software that is based on Android open source. It's our custom stack of software over a Qualcomm Snapdragon chip.
Okay, so what kind of apps would I run on this?
Great.
Right, since well, I want to use my I don't know.
Yeah. So that's part of our product offering. We want all the apps that you're used to just work and be backwards compatible. So all the web apps that you're used to are working here. Anything you run regularly on your laptop that is running on the web will work here without any need to change a bit of code.
Okay. All right. So it's a web apps.
Web apps. This is the early access offering.
Right.
You can also work with Office 365, as well as in the future we'll have also additional offering.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of fast forwarding here. We actually saw Scar Ghost playing with this on last week's show, but I must say I quite like this device, and considering what it is, it's a damn sight cheaper than Apple's. But here we go. They're going to try it out.
You can use the touchpad.
Okay, start exploring.
Just click it and get to work.
Okay. Right.
So right now I can't see what you're seeing,
Right.
Because the screen is totally
I
clear in the
right.
glasses.
I see a web browser, or like a part of a web browser, because the FOV is kind of limiting it.
Right.
So
we do have a few ways we can try to mitigate that.
Okay.
You can use three fingers.
Three fingers?
To swipe up on the touchpad.
Okay.
And this
Yeah, that's better. Okay.
Yes.
So you're putting everything further away so it will fit into the FOV. That makes sense.
Yes. We're using,
That's better.
this is the advantages of the virtual display.
Okay.
You can take it anywhere.
Right. But now it's a bit far away though.
Okay.
Yeah, right now this is.
What's interesting about this clip is that when we saw Scar Ghost's thing on this one, it was a good sort of review, and he managed to film a bit of what he was seeing. But there was also a trailer for it, which actually saw what the viewer sees. In other words, all these wonderful screens that you can move around and pull forward and back, a bit like the Apple thing, but strictly speaking, a laptop with a pair of glasses attached instead of a monitor. What was interesting there was their Mr. TV there was actually reporting on the spot, and they obviously didn't have a way of showing you what he was seeing. But it was interesting that he thought he was looking at a little web browser and didn't understand what it was until the guy actually told him to use 3 fingers on the trackpad and stuff like that. I've got a feeling that it's probably not actually as intuitive as it first appeared. I mean, it certainly wouldn't occur to me I might have used 2 fingers to pull apart a thing and zoom on the trackpad, but it sounds like a lot of the interaction is what you do on the trackpad and how you use your fingers. And I think that, I'm sure if somebody really wants to, they will get used to it, but it sounds like it may be a bit more awkward to use than I at first thought. Okay, games for Why have I got two of the same thing? Oh, this doesn't make sense. Okay, that was Kent Bias thing, wasn't it? That was that one. Right. Ooh, this is 20 minutes. I'm not going to do that one. Games for change. Okay, I think that's it for this week. There's a 20-minute one there, which is GVN unscripted. Now, this one is one of the ones that I had on the Mastodon feed that goes 20 minutes. I knew I wasn't going to be running it on this show, so there you go. I think we're at the end, believe it or not. Probably just as well. Things have been a bit chaotic at my end here today, particularly the Mastodon feed with nothing kind of showing where it was meant to. I really can't tell you what happened there, but a reminder basically at MetaWorld and Mastodon Social. And all these are actually sent through, like that one there, to Twitter. So that one's okay because the link is going to YouTube, watch, blah, blah. But a lot of them are suddenly going to YouTube common feed subscriptions, which is where they are from my point of view. But that is not a link that is going to get you anywhere except your own subscriptions at YouTube. And it's also a page that shows you lots as opposed to an individual thing. So I'm going to have to try and find out what happened there. It's odd because some of them are okay and some of them are not. And I do use the same system for publishing them all, so go figure. But yeah, everything's tricky these days, really, really. So let's see, I'll leave us with that lovely picture of the crowd at all. Okay, James, your thoughts. So particularly, I'm keen on your thoughts on the Mac thing. I know you probably haven't tried it on or got one, but I mean, well, come on, you like your helmet. So spatial computing, is it? You know, is it a new era? Oh no. No, right, exactly. I mean, we've seen that Roblox is in there, and actually, you will be able to game in it. But that's what you're saying, basically. People who are going to fall, who are going well, yeah. I mean, you know, they're probably going to, if they can afford a Mac, they're going to buy a Mac, maybe even for £1,000 more, but or less. But you know, that's Apple's typical pricing. But I agree that you know gamers, most gamers are on Windows. Let's face it. Apple's been very slow to move into gaming. Yeah, yeah, and Steam, of course, which is cross-platform. So yeah, Steam, I'm pretty sure will work on it, but it's not down to what works on it. It's do you have a use for it, you know, for what you do. And if you simply play games, then yeah, there are probably a whole load of other helmets you can stick on that give you an immersion into a game uh, for considerably less money. But maybe there are things that aren't much good for anything but VR games, if you see what I mean. So swings and roundabouts. I would, I would. It's probably a bit like the iPad. I would reckon. With Apple, I always wait for the second iteration of anything they innovate. Because once they're getting feedback from their first round of sales, they start improving things very fast. I mean, the iPad 2 looks like a dinosaur now. I've still got it, still use it for a few things. So, but you know, you can have a display on it anyway. But you know, it was a real step up from the iPad 1 or the iPad without a number. You know, and yeah, it takes its time. You know, but I think they're onto a thing. I imagine at some point I would get something like this. Hopefully, some Apple will have something at a lower price point. And to be honest, I live on my Mac, you know, when I'm not on Windows in virtual worlds and things. So um, the idea that I've got something tethered that I can just pick up for a few minutes at a time for something actually, you know, would suit me. And I quite like the idea that their FaceTime calls and all that stuff are going to be they're going to take the image from from a camera and turn you into a photorealistic avatar. So if you ring me on FaceTime and I pick up in that headset, you'll see my face like normal, but it won't be real. It will be sort of realistic avatar that's been made through the camera tracking. And all that stuff is fascinating. As you say, businesses may really go for that. Um, you know, even though it's the obvious, most boring way to do things, you know, people make FaceTime and Skype calls and things. And video conferencing is not very successful. You see the other person, you think that's better than just hearing their voice on the telephone. But you don't get a context of people saying, maybe with Microsoft Meet, I think it's called, or whatever. You don't get an idea of multiple people in the room, um, actually moving in the room. I mean, obviously in Discord and Microsoft Teams, that's the one, isn't it? You can have lots of windows on your screen together, so you can see everybody in the meeting, but they're not in the same spatial context. They've either got their own fake background or their own unmade bed in the background, you know. And so, you know, holographic, you know, telephone thing, but where you're meeting in the same room, it sounds a bit like a virtual world, but you know, um, that is probably why the beaches of some of the Bella and things like that, which don't have very realistic avatars at all, but they're very quick and easy, and they do at least allow people from a company to meet in the same space. So would Open Sim or Second Life and things like that. People could be bothered to set it all up. But those aren't exactly the quick and easy solutions, you know, that people like Vibella are. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I think it's a landmark time. I mean, you know, some people, yeah, of course. Yeah. And yeah, yeah. Well, you know, the prices may come down and stuff. It's a bit of a shame. I mean, my former partner, she bought the Oculus. Oh, it was when they were, it was quick start. Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I think she put it on once and it was so heavy and whatever, she got about it. But, you know, but yeah, I think this is a landmark. Somebody equated it with 1984 when they advertised the first Macintosh at the Super Bowl. You know, this wasn't a Super Bowl, but who knows what they might, you know. Um, it's a leap forward. Uh, and, you know, it's a transition from to a world without screens, basically. But for that to work, eventually, it's got to be contact lenses, not a helmet, you know, or a pair of glasses at least, you know. Well, even with Apple, you know, I mean, I've got an iPhone and an iPad as well as a Mac. Is there anything I'm missing? I don't know. But a lot of people, they'll have an iPhone, but they won't have an iPad, and they might not even have a Mac. And other people live on iPads and they don't have a Mac, or they probably do have an Android phone at least. But you know, so not everybody buys into the entire ecosystem. Is it an Apple Watch? That's the one I'm forgetting. It's just a little thing, but it's integral to the ecosystem because it controls the Mac and the iPad and the iPhone. All three of them are combined with this little watch, you know. Um, yeah, it is incremental. I mean, if I've got two Mac Minis side by side. They're both with the new, type processors on, M1 and M2. Um, but for the same the form factor and a slightly taller box, I could have got the Mac Studio, but that would have not be back £6,000-7,000. So I was going to do that. The one I've got is perfect. I mean, if I was full-time video editing or something like that with multi-gigabyte files, then I probably need a studio, but I don't. And actually, and then the Mac Pro is still a tower machine, which is even more powerful than the studio. And I mean that I can't remember how much that sells for, but it's not. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not home user stuff. I don't know whether it's over 10,000 or more like seven, but it's a lot. And if you it's only the Mac Pro has got one thing going for it, which most people will not need in a million years, but video editors do, and that is it has 96 gigabytes of RAM. And Apple's use of RAM, 32 gigabytes of Apple RAM is the same as 64 Windows RAM. So if you've got 96 Apple RAM, that's like having a Windows machine with. I don't think they make Windows machines with 180 RAM, but if they did. So yeah, I mean, I people should really buy what they need and what they want. And I think on a separate matter, I think it's a bit of a shame if you go into PC World or what the high street places that sells computers, they're all stocking the same well-known brands. They're all they have Apple now, but they're mostly Windows stuff. And people are going to sort of have less and less choice every day. All it says you get the latest one, and you got this is graphics, and this is the disk space you've got, and there is really somebody off the street goes into one of those shops and wants to use a computer, and the salesman's going to sell them anything as long as the higher the price, the better. But he's not going to ask them, are you going to be using it for graphics or just email and just the web and whatever? He doesn't care. He wants to sell the most expensive one out there. But he's got budget ones too, and they sell these laptops that don't really do anything at all. Seriously, they're like Android Chromebooks, where it's email is wonderful, web browsing wonderful, anything else not so wonderful. But people will buy them because they think, oh, it's a computer, and the computers do this and that and whatever, don't they? Well, they'll find out soon enough, And they'll suddenly think, oh, I want to make video calls. But what do you mean it's what do you mean it's not got a camera? And reminds me of my father once. He got rid of a computer I'd given him, an old one, a long while ago, for something some local kid sold him. It didn't have a sound card. It didn't have a graphics card. And he was actually offered them. He said he didn't want them. He didn't understand why a computer might need speakers, or I might need a microphone, or what's his graphics card thing anyway? And I'm not talking about gaming cards. I'm talking about a graphics card that could handle thousands of colors at least, if not millions. So he ended up with a machine where he stuck the CD-ROM in and it couldn't play because the graphics card wasn't there. But I don't know. I just wonder. And I think with all this tech, there are people do say that the Apple crowd and the Silicon Valley crowd are more affluent consumers than others. So they're reaching a kind of niche market in terms of disposable capital anyway. So I think they'll do. I think they'll do okay. But as you say, it's the opening up of the avenues there, both for future Apple products and the emulators that will rush into that space. Apparently, Zuckerberg has actually said that he's not remotely interested in competing with the Apple product. It is. Yeah, it is. But he says he wouldn't wear it. I mean, I think he realizes that it is a step toward the future, whereas his product is different category and isn't quite. It's not quite a step towards the future that he might have originally thought. His version of the metaverse, but it's good. It's all opening up, and particularly good for XR, of course. So, yeah, and Web XR even. Right. Well, I blabbered away at the end here to make up for the lost time. I think we've actually covered an hour now, despite despite all the chaos. It's a shame. Yes, I'm going to have to do a bit of work in the week in terms of. I was really pleased this week because I thought I got my sort of broadcast desktop sorted with sort of. But well, actually, it's not that let me down. It's the Mastodon business. So yeah, we shall see what we see. If I can, I will see if I can find a way of pulling an RSS feed from Mastodon that's a video RSS feed and then can be mounted, onto the screen. We will see. It does indeed. But anybody out there with any ideas? Let me know. I mean, do you think we can compete with upload download VR yet? No. Oh, but we are sort of there. It's just a different. Oh, that's true. Yeah, we go on. Yeah, they're all yeah, and yeah, the in-house interview though is quite interesting. That's sort of and they've also oh, he guested somewhere else too. I don't know about the other guy, Skeever is it or something? I never remember the names, but he was certainly around and about this week, if nothing else. So. Anyway, we will call it. We'll call it a day, I think, or a night. We will quit while the going is still not tragic. And yeah, so I would like to thank James here for being here and keeping it all going when I failed to do so. I don't know what he did magic with his camera while I was getting lost, I'm sure. Yeah. Well, thank you anyway. Absolutely wonderful. And yeah, we'll call it a week there. Hope stay well, everybody. I always say, careful about going out and catching viruses, and stay at your computer, and you can be online and blah blah blah. But then we get this wonderful heat that I think is not just in Britain, but you know. Even that's dangerous. I've got a government warning not to go outside yesterday because of the heat. And so I'm not not basking in the sun thinking all the viruses are gone. Now I've got to worry about the temperature too. And oh yeah, just to make you all happy, first reported wildfire in Britain today. It wasn't out London, it was up oh, it's in Scotland actually. It's quite far north, but it's a serious wildfire. I mean, the number of miles concerned is nothing quite like the Canadian ones, but we're getting it too. That's the world. God, nah, never. Surely not. Surely not. Surely not. Can't believe that. Anyway, it's a wrap. We'll see you next week. Bye for now, and bye from James too. Or you see him if you want.